Well, that's pretty frustrating, folks. I don't know what's going on with their internet connection. There may be a virus going around. Anyway, I'm going to wait till I see more people checking back in, and then I'll hit some more of these questions right quick. We just might end up having to have a shorter version tonight. So Jason says he stocked 800 wipers, size of his finger, and 1,500 fingerling F1s. How many will typically survive? You know, the thing about Jason's question is that guy, I don't know why this thing went dead. I have no idea. It just clicked off. It may be the memory on my phone. I'm going to check that when we hang up because I've added memory to it. So we'll see here. Anyway, going back to Jason's question, with your lake being drawn down almost empty and you guys removing a bunch of carp, and then letting the lake fill back up, I think your survival rate on that number of fish for a 125 acre lake is going to be pretty high. It's, that's really not that many fish for a lake that size. If you'd stocked way more than that, I'd say that your survival rate would be lower. Let's see, Tony and Lowell Bennett. I have a pond here in Georgia that I'm having fun digging with my loader. Thank you, Abundant Rain, for softening it. That's good. It's in the experiment for a larger pond. The famous Georgia clay is present in about half of it. The rest is coarser, which does not hold the water very well. It's about 5,000 gallons, nearest I can figure, so it's not big at all. I want to see water holding capacity before time and expense of taking to construct a larger pond above it. I'm thinking bentonite. Well, if you got good clay and you know how to pack it, you don't need bentonite. But for a 5,000 gallon pond, bentonite's not going to break the bank and it would be easy to do. Wade Bale says, mention variation in relative weight seasonally and how it can be tough to eyeball what relative weight. He's actually absolutely right. So what Wade is saying right here, and I hope you guys can join back in and hear this answer because that's really a great question. And I'm going to come back. And Jason says everybody's in quarantine, slowing the internet down. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to address what Wade Bales just said. Wade says, mention the variation in relative weight seasonally and how it can be tough to eyeball. So when you've got that Smartfish app on your phone, it really can be hard to eyeball because if you pick up a bass right now before she spawned, her relative weight might be a little deceptive because when you weigh that fish right now, she may show a 105 relative weight, but when you look at that fish 6 weeks from now, she might be at 85. So the judgment call that you have to make is what's the overall condition. Here, I tell you, here's a rule that I use, and it's goofy as hell, but I use it because it makes sense to me. When I'm looking at a bass, look at the back of the bass, the shoulders right behind the head. If you can put your fingers over it and it's U-shaped like this, that's healthy. If you put your fingers over it, it's V-shaped, that fish is underweight. If you can look at the tail and the tail is shaped like this in front of the tail part, it's healthy. But if it looks like this, it's not. So what you're looking at is you're looking at whether the fish lost weight or not. Hey, Willie Howell, good to see you, neighbor. Hope things are going good for you. Michael Eric's checking back in. My dadgum video went down a while ago. So now I'm having to go back and do it again. So I don't know how to piece two of them together. So let me see here. I might have to go back. You know what? If you got more questions, bring them to me. Hello, Philip Benefield. Good to see you. I'm just going to operate off of the phone for a few minutes because this internet is really, really, really weird today. So let me make sure that I've covered the questions so far. I think I have. Yep. We had a pond management presentation set up for tomorrow at a Purina dealer in Pilot Point, Texas. We had to cancel that because of the circumstances. But what I do have, I'll tell you this, I've got a video that we shot back at the last Bob Lusk Institute of Higher Pondology. I'm going to try to view that video tomorrow, and it's about basic pond management. And if I can figure it out and see it and I like it, then I'll upload it to YouTube and share that with some of you guys. So, that's what's going on. And now it looks like the internet's playing games with me some more. You guys have some questions, throw them at me, because we lost our audience a while ago. I see a bunch of you have come back on. Uh-oh, now I just lost being able to see the questions. Woo. Okay, y'all bear with me here. I'm gonna figure this out. Let me see here. Touch that. Nope, that ain't it. Oh, there they are back again. Okay, let's see here. Okay, here we go. All right, Philip Benefield says, if I have trees on my dam in an old 50-year-old pond, should I try and clear them off or leave them be? Well, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. If those trees are bigger than 4 inches in diameter, leave them on there. If they're smaller than that, you can cut them down. 4-inch trees have a big enough root ball that they can compromise the structure of the dam. So if you've got a root ball, just imagine, the trees of the roots growing into the dam, and you kill that tree and those roots rot, they're going to leave a void. So if the trees are smaller than 4 inches, you can sure cut them down. And I'd encourage that. Jason Debstown, will American pondweed spread faster than eelgrass? Yes, it will. It's going to, eelgrass is hard. Once you get eelgrass going, you can get it going. I see Shane McIntyre checking in. So you guys bring some more questions to me, and I'll cover those questions. In the meantime, we got about 15 more minutes, so let me, the topics I wanted to hit tonight were, we've got severe weather, we've got flooding going on, which it's a little early for that, but things are real weird anyway, and you just kind of got to adjust to what you get dealt with. So fish are getting ready to spawn. I've noticed that bass have moved shallow, but we had a couple of fronts, so they moved back. But they're staged and they're ready to spawn. Let's see here. Philip Benefield, is that both front side and back side of the? Yes, that's for both sides of the dam. So here, a better way to explain that is what typically grows on the front side of the pond dam are willow trees. And willow trees are so resourceful. And here's a fact that you need to know about willow trees. A full-grown willow tree will transpire 100 gallons of water a day. So somebody like David Jennings, who's got a place out west of Stephenville, Texas, that's important because his average annual rainfall out there is 20 to 22 inches a year. So you don't want willow trees sucking water out of your pond when you're not going to get nearly as much rain as they get over at Texarkana, where Willie's hanging out tonight, where you get 60 inches of rain a year. So, yes, on the front side slope, if you've got trees bigger than 4 inches, don't cut them down. Now, what you can do is you can trim them up. So if you got willow trees that are big, you can trim those willow trees and knock them back. But on the backside slope of the dam, any trees that are 4 inches in diameter or bigger, don't cut them down because they're gonna leave a big void in the dam. And a weak spot in the dam, that's like taking a tow chain and holding it together with baling wire. Ain't gonna work. Bullard, good to see you, Ronnie. Okay, Chris Ketchum. What would be a good product to use to get the summertime yucky topwater muck that keeps me from fishing down to a minimum? It's the slimy, bubbly stuff that sits on top. Well, what Chris Ketchum is describing sounds to me about is filamentous algae. So here's the skinny on plants. You got to identify the plant. Now, the way Chris described it, I think that's algae. But I'd still want a picture of it, and I'd want you to key it out. You can go to Aquaplant on the Texas A&M website. University of Florida has got an outstanding website for plant identification. So identify the plant first. And then, there are herbicides you can use, and there's methods you can use to control those plants. So let's see here. I saw Chris, can you comment on using Israeli carp to control filamentous algae? Okay, we don't use Israeli carp to control filamentous algae. Filamentous algae, we use tilapia. Now, in some states like Missouri, where Chris lives, it's against the law to use tilapia. But in the state of Texas, we can use them. So we use tilapia Mozambique to control filamentous algae. And that works really, really well. Israeli carp, that's typically what do they call them? Mirror carp, common carp. They reproduce. So we don't want those. We want tilapia. Now, in Illinois, tilapia are not legal. So there are several states where they're not. Louisiana, I don't believe they're legal in Louisiana because there's part of that state that they're going to die. Now, I do have a caveat about tilapia. You want them to die in the wintertime. They die when the water, tilapia in Mozambique die at 52 degrees. Well, down in San Antonio, Texas, where Danny Mac is, his tilapia might make it through the winter. I don't like that because it's a problem. So if you can stock tilapia and know that they're going to die in the fall when the temperature drops, that's good because they serve a specific purpose for a specific time, which sounds counterintuitive, but it works that way, and it works real, real well. Let's see here. Jason Nipstad. We had spawning bass everywhere last week. Now I see some beds are empty. Will a cold front make them change their minds if they just started? Yeah. Now, I tell you what happens, though. Is when, if you see a male on a bass and you've watched a female come to that nest, he's going to sit on those eggs until they hatch. Now, if the temperature plummets, I have seen times over the years where the male will leave those eggs and they'll die. And it's not the fact that he left them that makes them die. That's real important to know. What makes them die is when the water temperature drops. The egg's metabolism rate slows down, their hatch rate drops, and typically those eggs will cover with a fungus and they'll die. Now that's sad, but all that means is the next phase of the full moon, when the water temperature goes up, they'll go at it again. Because those big females, they don't lay all their eggs at once. They're going to lay eggs now and lay some eggs later because the eggs don't all mature at the same time in their ovaries. So they'll spawn again later. Let's see here. I see Tammy Pisarski in from Lubbock. Hi, Ronnie. Ponzilla and chelated copper for filamentous algae works well for me. Again, like Bob said, I need super. Yeah, that's true. Ponzilla, if you look up Natural Lake Biosciences, I think it is, Landon Wyatt, Landon spells his last name W-I-E-T, Kevin Ripp, those guys custom design products to help you with your algae. There's Jim Morgan checking in. Looks like Jim's hunkered down in North Carolina. Hope he's at the cabin. Scott McClure couldn't believe how well the adjuvant worked along with copper. Copper alone stayed put and dying for weeks with, it says see more. I'm touching on it. It's not letting me see more. I know there's something there, but I'm not. Let's see. Michael Eric said, I asked this a few months ago live, but I forgot the answer. Local 5-acre lake was built in 1976. You know what, guys? I'm having trouble with my connection tonight, but I'm going to see if I can figure this out because I really want to see those questions so I can answer them for you. So bear with me for a minute. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Okay. Well, bear with me, guys. I'm trying. I promise. Well, I'm not seeing it. Dadgummit. I really want to answer these questions. I may have to wait and answer these questions later because my phone will not let me do it. Let's see here. Oh, there it comes, there it comes. Okay, Michael. All right, let's see here. 5-acre lake built in 1976 and has bass and bluegills and crappie and a few catfish. All the bluegills have black parasites, pepper in the summer, some yellow grubs. Crappie have no parasites and bass have small leeches in their mouths. I stocked 252 to 4-inch red ear last spring. How many would you advise to stock here again shortly? Man, if your budget will let you do it for a 5-acre lake, I'd stock 500. I sure would. Ron got through delivering fish. He made it. Jim Morgan, hey man, I'm social distancing by hanging out on Richmond Mill Lake. Oh man, I wish I could be social distancing with you. I promise you, I'd stay 6 feet away and I'd bring some scotch. I would. I promise. That would be kind of fun. We got to do that. Chris Stillman, I see Leanne checking back in. Richmond Mill Lake has been by far my most favorite lake to ever work on and work with. That lake taught me a lot. It's pretty amazing. Jason Nepstead, still trying to get a company outing over there at Richmond Mill Lake. Dion Myers is checking in. Chris Horsley, I drained and renovated a 3 3/4 acre pond in November of 2018. We only stocked 800 bluegill, 300 red ear, 1 to 3 inches, and 14 pounds of fathead minnows. Some largemouth bass showed up somehow. I had nice brim beds in the summer and fall. Do I need to finish stocking the bluegill and red ear? I'd rather have Florida bass. When should I stock them? Well, Chris, here's my answer to that. You didn't say when the bass showed up. So a 3 3/4 acre lake, 800 bluegills that were 1 to 3 inches. Let me think about that. That's like 200 per acre, 250 per acre. So 250 per acre is about 1/4 of the recommended stocking rates. So if you, I tell you, I would spend some money on a feeder and I would feed the fish and see what comes to the feeder. It would do no harm. Actually, it would be helpful to stock more bluegills, but be sure they're at least 4 inches long. You're not saying how big your bass are when they showed up. I would want to know that. Do you need to finish the... Yeah, you do. I'd stock more bluegill. I'd stock more red ear. Be sure they have cover where they can social distance themselves from bass. He said that. Yes, he did. So, yeah, I do think you need to stock more. How many more? That's probably the question you're sitting there thinking. If your bass are 10 to 12 inches long, I'm going to tell you to bite the bullet, stock 800 more bluegills that are 4 to 5 inches long. Now, that's going to be a little pricey, but you can do it, and that's going to be worth it. Because here's the gist of this thing. You got to have 10 pounds of bait fish for every pound of bass that you grow. The bluegill are the backbone of the food chain for that pond. So you really, really, really need more bluegills. I would feed them to expedite growth rates and enhance their reproduction. If you'll feed them a good fish food like Purina's Aquamax, which Purina is a sponsor of this show, but one thing I love about Purina is they called me 25 years ago, 1995. Hey, we want to advertise in pond balls, but we also want to help the industry. What do you need? And they have developed feeds specifically for the pond management industry. Aquamax MVP is that feed. That's the best feed they've got right now for doing what you need to do in feeding your bluegills. So I would encourage you to feed your bluegills and stock more. So yes. Let's see. Harrison Davis, you fish too much, he says. No, I'm just social distancing. Yep, Jen Morgan, I love it. Yep, me too. I need to get my butt back out there and hang out with you. Ron Ardoin says, what kind of wine were you drinking last week on the show? Actually, I was drinking a Pinot Noir that I bought for $4.99 at the local liquor store on sale. And it was really good, and I liked it. So, holy cow, things are happening fast here on this phone. Let's see. Tom Davis checking in. Yeah, we got 2 Tommy Davises, by the way. We got one in Ohio and one in Centerville, Texas. Checking in late. Heavy rain here. Chris Horsley, I am feeding bass are 6 inches. So, yeah, you know what, Chris? I would stock another 800 bluegills 3 inches plus if your bass are 6 inches. John Myers, is it okay to mix different species of bluegills? Absolutely. You bet. Now, when you say different species of bluegills, what you're really saying to me is different strains of bluegills. If you want to stock coppernose, you want to stock northern strains, you want to stock native strains, Mississippi drainage strains, any of the strains of bluegill that you want to stock, that's fine. Now, some of the strains are going to do great depending on where you live. I don't remember where you are, Dion, but if you guys, anybody's north of Oklahoma City, if you draw a line from Oklahoma City through a little north of Little Rock, going to north of Memphis, Tennessee, curving up, going through Ohio. If you're north and west of that line, coppernose bluegill won't do very well there. They just can't thrive. But that's a good reason to mix the different strains of bluegills anyway. Tim Stewart, I've already got fatheads and bluegills reproducing. I'd like to get some more bluegill and red ear when I stock my bass. And it says see more, so I'm trying to get it here so I can see what you're doing. Well, how many should I get? Tim, I don't remember how many you got, but if you haven't stocked your bass yet and your bluegill are spawning, the numbers I remember you getting, I think you've got enough. Hank Parker was scheduled to shoot his show with a platoon of Marines starting tomorrow, but 2 guys tested positive for the coronavirus, looking like. And you know what? Debbie and I were going to host 25 military Army guys and their families at our house Monday, Tuesday, but they were told they can't travel. So he canceled out, done the same show 8 years in a row with the same platoon. It created crazy times. Martin Kevin bought our house a couple of years ago with an established 3/4 acre, 1 acre pond. I'm no pond expert, LOL, but there are tons of, let me see here, it says, tons of bluegill in the pond when we catch more small ones and big ones. But the magic question, how do we turn it around to catch bigger fish? We need more data. So if you haven't spent much time on Pond Boss, let me give you a resource. You guys can go to pondboss.com, click on Ask the Boss. There's an outstanding discussion forum right there that can give you some really good answers. That's a great place. Or you can send me more data at my email address is boblusk@outlook.com. So I think you need to know about how many bass you've got, catch some, weigh them and measure them, compare that to the forage fish. Then you can decide what to do. So we need a little bit more information. I think your learning curve, I think you're at the right place. Pond Boss, yeah, well, that's what we do. So spend some time watching some of these videos in the past and spend some time at pondboss.com. Check out videos there, and you can start seeing a little bit more about what you really should be doing. Adam Kaseri checking in. Aaron Davis. Glad the Pond Boss is doing well. We need our nuggets. We all need nuggets, don't we? All right, fellas. Well, I hate that the video was cut in half tonight. I don't know what to do about it other than live with it. So we're going to have 2 halves tonight. 2 halves make a whole. I hope you guys have a whole great rest of your week. And you know what? I'm going to leave you with this. Faith, hope, and love. This virus is driving us together. It is unifying us. I sincerely believe that. I believe that this virus came from China, but I believe that God has got us where we need to be to follow what He wants us to do. And I really, truly believe that. Our families are now coming together. We got 2 grandkids hanging out at our house. We've had some great discussions, 8 hot dogs, had a picnic today. And I think there's more of that meaningful do without so we can prepare ourselves to do with. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. So adios, and I will plan on seeing you guys next Wednesday. See you, Josie. Give that husband of yours a hug. See you.